Hello and welcome. We are going to go ahead and get started here, and greetings. My name is Brendan, if you don't know. This channel here is DevChatter, and on DevChatter we like to write a lot of, interesting projects that we think are going to be fun for everyone. So today I want to continue on one of our existing projects. Yes, that's right. I do intend to actually wrap some of these up sometimes, but I think that's a lot of how development works. We get really interested in all the cool new stuff, but I do want to make sure that I get us back to some of our existing projects. So on Tuesday, we were working on our DevStreams project, and I want to spend a little bit more time on this. So I was actually working on this a little bit earlier today, and I want to show you essentially where I got the application. So on Tuesday, we started building, and I say started in that we had some source code to begin with, but we really started the discussion figuring out how the application was going to work on Tuesday. And here's what we set up. We had John Skeet on the show with us, and we were working on designing the model for how we want to store the data. So, to explain the application we're building, we have, essentially we're making a website that will allow people to go to the website. I haven't decided yet if we're just going to make it open to anybody to add data, or if we're going to have individual people add the data, have it show up, something like that. We'll have to figure out taxonomy and other things like that later date. Anyway, we want to build a website that can show a schedule of streams that are showing up on Twitch. Right now we're focusing it on software developer streams, so programming streams, things like that. So you might have noticed earlier today that Ed Charbonneau was doing his stream. He was actually a guest of ours on Monday, and he was doing his stream today. He usually streams on Fridays. And I decided that I didn't want to do my stream at the same time as his. Well, I knew about it because he tweeted it. But if I hadn't seen that tweet, if I hadn't seen that he was live, I might have planned on starting my stream say 90 minutes ago, around the same time that his was starting. So that would have been, I'll say goof on my part, because I know that there are a reasonable number of people who are viewers both of Ed's Blazor show as well as mine. So yeah, exactly. As Will points out, the problem is when too many streamers that have similar audiences go live at the same time, some of the streams don't get a lot of data. Or don't get a lot of people, and so I want to make sure that, I'm not like stealing viewers from people that are trying to get their streams off the ground. So that's part of the idea. So, anyway, I did not get to catch Ed's stream today. I might check the video for that. And for those of you that are new to streaming, new to Twitch and that sort of thing, first off, welcome. I hope you enjoy some live coding content. We're going to go ahead and get to some C# code here in a minute, but I do want to mention a couple of things. Most people, including our stream here on DevChatter, that stream programming, will make their source code available on GitHub. So ours is at github.com/devchatter. You can find it over there. And yes, you could take TwitchLoft's approach of just watching multiple streams at the same time, but it really helps for scheduling. So if I want to start adding a Friday stream to my regular schedule, I know that I don't want to put it right at noon because that'll overlap with him. Now, I did notice that another streamer went live while right here. Obviously, you can't avoid it all the time. Schedules are just the way schedules are, but if I can avoid it, I will. And the only way to get the information to know when streams are happening is to have a schedule. So essentially what I want to do is I want to make a website where a lot of the streamers can put their schedules. So I can put on when my times are, and other streamers can work around that. So you could look and say, hey, you know what? I want to watch a stream tomorrow. Who's streaming? And you can go and look at the list, and you can see a list of streamers. You could also be a streamer yourself, and you're saying, hey, I want to start a stream. When's a good time to run it? And then you also get that. So, for example, my friend Calvin was doing a stream. I'm not sure if he's still streaming, but he was streaming for a while. When he was trying to decide on a time, I was trying to convince him to set up his time so that it started right at the end of my stream. So that on a lot of my streams, I could just raid or host him when I was done. Another one of our streamers named Lucky Number 7, he streams around the time after I'm done. So if he's live when I finish, I'll often host or raid him. The other nice thing is if I'm not, I actually have it set up to auto-host him. So Lucky Number 7's a pretty cool guy, and we like spreading that around. So you could also just go, hey, I know when so-and-so's stream ends, I'll make sure that I'm streaming when they end so that they can host or raid me. So it's really nice to be able to set things up that way. And without that information, you can't do that. Wouldn't it be better to use a Twitch API and make a prediction model? So Flying Meat, yes, you could try to go a prediction way, where you go based on the previous data. The challenge is that if we go based on that, there's some data sets that are hard to predict. So for example, around the holidays, we could get it messed up. We'd have to get really, really smart about when they're usually streaming. And I think you could figure it out. So yes, Flying Meat, you could go that route, and in fact we still could do that. So we could make that data for streamers that don't tell us this. The advantage here is just that we can have people enter it in and figure it out. So we're going the simple model to begin with. I think it'll work out pretty well, and we'll see how it goes. The cool thing is this. So we are handling time zones. So a lot of scheduling apps have this problem. If I schedule a meeting, let's say that I schedule an event, say my streams start at 2 p.m. on Mondays and Tuesdays, which they do, but that's 2 p.m. my time. We run into a problem when daylight savings times switches happen. So in the spring, Europe, I believe, is going to change their time before the United States does. I don't know all the complexities of time zones. If you were on our Tuesday episode, you saw a lot about that. There's a lot of complexity with time zones. Not going to get into all of that. The point being, they don't all shift between daylight savings times in the same way or at the same time. Because of that, there are sometimes weeks where we don't line up. Also, if all I do is take whatever time you told me, convert it to UTC, that's not correct. Because UTC time, let's say my streams start at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that would mean that it is at, 1900 UTC, but the problem is, when I'm in Eastern Daylight Time, when my time zone switches to Eastern Daylight Time, I will then be streaming at 1800 UTC, and without knowing that that switch happened, we can't account for that. So that's why we need to store things like the local time, as well as which time zone that person is in. So we're going to ask you for your time zone, and here's how we're going to do it. It's right here. So when you go to this page, it'll load up, and obviously we'll make it nicer than this. This is, again, still just Battleship Gray. We're just figuring out how we want to wire everything together. So if we come down here, I could say pick the United States, and then when I do that, my time zone selection gets me the United States set of time zones. Thanks for that follow, Voight. And I can come down here and I can say Eastern Time, New York. Now, obviously, I'm not in New York, but close enough. That is the time zone I am in. And we are using so these are not actual time zone names. These are some friendlier names that came out of a project that we're going to use for this because I think it works well. So I know that my time zone is Eastern Time, New York. And then once picking that, I can then say Mondays at 2 p.m. and they end at about 4 p.m. And I could click Create Stream Time, and that would go ahead and make it. Awesome, Flem. Glad you like the look of the page. And don't worry about that. I didn't actually wire this up yet. I was just wondering what would happen if I clicked it. Okay, so clearly it tried to access the time zone database using the nice name instead of the actual name. So let's take a look at what that value cannot be null. Cool. So let's actually wire that up. So create. There we go. Simon, hey Simon, welcome. Also Eastern Time is not just one thing. Different parts of different states are in different time zones during the year. Yes, exactly, Simon. And that's actually why the zone is written the way that it is because if, for example, let's back this up so we can see this page again. Did not mean to do that. If I choose the United States again, you will see in this list that there are a lot of Eastern times. So there's New York, there's Detroit, there's Louisville, Indianapolis. So a whole bunch of weird options for what you can actually pick. So I love how Pacific time is just Pacific time. Lucky them. I think they have not had enough confusion with that yet. What's Canada have? Canada? There we go. Because that's not confusing either. So I guess so John was on the show on Tuesday, was explaining this way better than any of us could even possibly know time zones. I guess any time there's any kind of deviation, a new zone needs to get created to account for time. So historically we can track time. Obviously, a lot of these places are consolidated now, sort of, in that they generally match, but for any given place, there needs to be an unequivocal, that's what time was in this place, for a lot of legal reasons. Okay, so that on a wire up there. When we post this data up here, so for now we're using the Razor page post, but we could put this in an API controller instead of just in the back end here on the post. But for now, I have a form, I've got a post, so why not? Newfoundland time is half an hour out from regular time. Oh man, it's one of the ones that's partials. Oh geez. Yeah, see, exactly, Simon. And so those get really crazy to account for. So that's why you need libraries that handle it. So in this case, on this part here, we pull everything into zoned time using a zoned clock. So thanks to Notatime, we have this concept of a zoned clock that can actually keep track of this stuff for us so that we don't have to look it up. I'm going to go ahead and drop a breakpoint there. I want to see what my time zone ID is that comes up. Oh, I bet I don't have that bound on the object, right? Let's take a look. So in our Razor page, we have label for that and ID. I do not have an... Yep, here's why. So I'm going to say ASP... this is going to be an ASP4. Sorry, brain's just not where. Time zone ID. And it's model.time. It's streamtime.timezone ID, right? Yeah, streamtime.timezone ID. Yeah. I was gonna call it model, and no, I didn't call it model. I called it stream time. So our bound property is stream time. It's right here. And that is how that should wire up. So in theory, with that change, I should be able to just rerun this page and it should work. MRAC, welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. You need JSoda time. Is that actually a thing, Wheatlaw? An equivalent of Joda time and Nota time for JavaScript? If there is, that's cool. I mean, I don't terribly need it. I mean, it could be useful for doing the client-side change for the time and display without having to call back to the server for updates. My assumption is that if we put something in an instance of UTC, it can convert to your local time, and we should be able to get away with using moment. And I think that can probably get it, because I'm fairly certain it can do the time zone shift that we need. But not 100% on that. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and choose some options. So we'll choose that, and that's Central European time. Did I run that? Oh man, it worked. Awesome. At least I think so. So that's UTC +1. I chose 2 p.m. Central European Time. That seems wrong. Let me do a time that I know the that I know what value I should be getting. So let's go ahead and do this. United States, Eastern Time, New York. We will choose Monday at 2 p.m. Okay, so that means Monday the 17th. We're saying 2 p.m. Oh, right, yes, it's listing. Yeah, we're listing a local time and then spitting out the offset, right? Suggestions, we're adding local time. Let me confirm that we're displaying the local time. Zoned format item of suggested sessions, where suggested sessions are to zone, yeah, so they're in my local time zone. Okay, cool. I just wanted to confirm that we got that right, and yes, we did get that right. It is supposed to display in the local time zone, which means it was right when we did it for the European one also, the one that was in Central European time. So it does display it correctly, and then we're showing the offset from UTC next to it. So looks like all these pieces are working nicely. Let me wire this up, because I switched this when I made a couple of changes. I disconnected this. I figured stuff might break because I replaced things. I'm not kidding when I said I was doing this earlier today. I really was working on this. So I want to say bind time zone ID to view model. Okay. Alright, so we can enter that data when we click that button. So I want this to take us back now to a page where we can explain that. You know, Will, we could easily make the chatbot answer questions for you. There are APIs we could call that would actually do that. Let's see, never use anything other than JodaTime and Java.time. Yeah, Wheatlaw, JodaTime is the one you'd want to use. I checked, it doesn't exist. I think Moment.js used to be the go-to library for this. Yeah, exactly, Voight. Moment.js is the one I was planning on using for that, which should be able to convert. So we're going to create instances in UTC to display what that time is, based on when it's supposed to be in their time. Yeah, so, Mr. Jank, the way that you get those, there is a keyboard shortcut. I use Control-RW, so control, like, really white space, and that'll make it show up. You can also find it somewhere else, but I don't remember where it is. There's an option for it somewhere. Maybe it's in Tools Options, white space. Space, all languages. Spacing, tabs. Nope. Well, I don't remember where you turn it on, but Control-RW works. And if I didn't mention, thanks for that follow flying meat. I don't remember if I said that. It's in the VS settings. Let me find. Oh, yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Flem. Yeah, RW should get it for you. It's really nice because you can actually tell if someone put a tab in somewhere, and you immediately know. Yesterday, I was pair programming with Mark Miller of Code Rushed, and it was funny because I got pulled in with VS Live Share, and someone noticed on my stream that commented about the fact that he was using tabs. I think it was you, Will, but it was funny because you could see it on mine, because up above my head up here, you'd see the little arrows instead of the dots. So white space shows up as a dot if it's a space, and an arrow if it's a tab. there you go, Wheatlaw. Yeah, you immediately know you're dealing with a real programmer when you see the dots. and you know that you're dealing with a fake programmer when you see the arrows. Yeah, anyway. So are you guys using VS Code key bindings in VS, or VS key bindings in VS Code, or different key bindings? Twitchloff, I have different key bindings in both. I have to deal with all of them. I have dealt with that for years, where like I'd sit down on a different computer, different keyboard shortcuts. So, thanks, Wheatlaw. All right, so we get this. I want to save this data somewhere. So let's take a look at that. So I can save the data in a variety of places. I could save this in files. I could save this in a database. If I go the database route, I'm gonna have to have a database. I think I let it create one by default. I did. There it is. Okay, so in that case, we need to give these things an ID of some kind. So let's do that. So model. Alright, data entity it is. As much as I hate doing this, I don't mind this little piece, because I like forcing that all of my types are going to have some kind of a primary key that is an ID. Oh, thanks, Wheatlaw. I appreciate it. I do like having that, because I like to say, yeah, everything's going to have an ID, and I can work with it the same way, so I can get by ID no matter where I am, and I always know, yep, it has that ID, I can just get it. So let's go ahead and add IDs. So Twitchloff, the C#8 default implementation of an interface is really, really crazy. Void, I hope you're yelling about that and not what I just coded. If you're complaining about my code, we can have some words. Not bad words, but words nonetheless. Because I would love to know why you don't like having IDs. Alright, let me see, what do I want in here? I want to have a... hang on. Is Visual Studio much better than VS Code for C#? Risen Love, yeah, IDs are life. It is nice to have an ID. It makes it easier to work with the code. So, it's a tough question there, Specimen. You certainly can do C# very well in VS Code. It does a lot of things. There's a handful of stuff that Visual Studio is going to track down better, because it has a better concept of all the inner workings of the other things. That's part of why Visual Studio runs a little slower, is it is keeping a lot more stuff going all at once. So that does add to its advantages and its disadvantages. So I use VS Code when I'm doing a lot of JavaScript stuff. I use C# for a lot of Visual Studio stuff. Yeah, see what Will mentions, no code rush, no resharper, no Roslyn if you're running VS Code. And that's really the cost that you run into. I like having all of those basically built into my IDE for C#. I will say, when I'm doing a lot of JavaScript stuff, I actually prefer being in VS Code, even if I'm doing a C# project. So, let me just reveal the secret. I have VS Code running in the window right behind this one in the same project, so that when I do my JavaScript stuff, I can be over here, and when I do my C# stuff, I can be over there. So I run both of them. And as Wheatlaw mentioned, you can use Rider as well. That's another option for doing basically the same kind of thing. So whatever works best for you, go that route. There's a lot of great IDEs, a lot of great tools. Hey, Fleisch, welcome. Okay. So, as I was saying, I want to go ahead and add in our DB sets. So I'm going to go ahead and public DB set. What's the main object? It's a stream. Crap. You know what? I need to rename that. Stream hadn't even crossed my mind. Stream is like a bad term to use in a domain because it has so much meaning. Okay, so let's call it, channel? We'll call it channel. Which again has some other meanings as well, but I think this is going to be slightly better. Information about a streaming channel. Good plan, Specimen. Yeah, so if you do C#, just keep in mind that you do want to have a powerful computer if you're going to run Visual Studio. It is a hog. It's a good one, but it is a hog. If your domain is Twitch, stream is a perfect name. Yeah, I agree, Wheatlol. I'm thinking channel's going to be a little bit better, because you can have a YouTube channel, you can have a Twitch channel, you can have a Mixer channel, and I think all that makes sense. I prefer interfaces over abstract classes most of the time. I agree, Twitchloff, except for the thing like this ID that I want to have all these objects be able to use. Yeah, the only thing that's hidden here is just an ID field. So I just want to have an ID and that's it. That's probably not the best name there, Will. I could see how people might misread that. Is there any way to get fixed namespace functionality outside of ReSharper? To be honest, that's really the one thing that I really need ReSharper for. Voight, some of the other tooling, so Visual Studio has gotten a little bit better at that. It's not as good as ReSharper at dealing with namespaces. So that's one of the most complicated parts, is detecting what code in which files is using which things. So each episode of your channel would be a stream. Yeah, Wheatlol, you could call like a single day, like what we're doing right now at this moment could be a stream that happened, but I was going to call, I think I called it a stream session, but maybe we want to go with stream instance? Either way, let me go ahead and make this channels, because I think that's going to make sense. Get set, and I think that'll make it happy. And if Entity Framework is happy, I'm happy. I just realized I'm using Entity Framework again, probably because it out of the boxes with some basic authentication for me. Yeah, instance. Well, the thing is, I want people. It's not that enterprisey, Wheatlol. You like stream session? Okay, it's stream session right now. I just want it to be obvious that that is a single one that happened. So. A session of a stream happening on a specific date at a specific time. So that's what I call the stream session. A stream time is when a stream happens. So maybe it's a scheduled stream. Maybe we call this scheduled stream. I think that'll work. Scheduled stream. And let me know what you all think of those names. But I think they'll work. Actually, let me remove that for now. Scheduled streams. Spigot plugins. Welcome. We are coding a little ASP.NET website. We're just having a little bit of fun with it. It has to deal with times. We're making a calendar, and specifically I want to make a website that can use information to essentially display a calendar of when various developer streams are going to be live. So for example, I would want someone to be able to know that I was going to be streaming, that I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, because I stream on Saturdays at 1 o'clock my time. So everybody should be able to, see that on a calendar if they're, say, looking like, what streams can I watch on Saturday? And I want them to be able to see that. And that's kind of the idea that we're going for, is we want people to be able to find that information, both so that they can determine what they want to watch, and also see who is streaming so they can schedule their own streams. So that's kind of the idea. Okay, stream session sounds much better. I think it is best if I don't share what I think. It's okay, Wheatlong. I need other developers to be able to know what this code is. Having time on the end seemed weird considering the properties. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So scheduled stream I think makes sense, because it'd be weird with the time. And hey, Stoolpenner, welcome. Yeah, exactly, Spigot. So, and I do want to point out to everyone, this is open source. I want to make this available for a lot of other people to use. We're going to host it somewhere. I already picked up a domain for it a while back, and anyone else is welcome to contribute to the project, so it's over there. I linked to it in chat. So if you want to help set this up, I think this is a very good project for the community to build, because I think there are a lot of us that, you know, when we were scheduling things, so I started my stream and set this schedule that I'm on, and I've been on the same schedule for over 10 months now. And we are at stream 152, having basically followed the same schedule the whole time. I do some one-off streams. I want to be able to put those on the calendar as well to let people know, because there's also, I have canceled streams because I knew another streamer was going to be doing like a big special event that day. So I'm like, okay, I'll cancel my stream, and then we can have more people go to their event. So that's part of the idea, is more information lets us as a community do more cool stuff. So we're trying to build up a developer community here on Twitch, and these are some of the things that we can do, because we can build our own stuff to make our community better. Are you considering topics and or categories of sessions and streams? Flying Meat, yes. So we're going to start off with basics, no taxonomy on this. I did mention this at the beginning of the stream, but the plan is to add our own version of tags and that sort of thing, because Twitch doesn't give us tags like language. So keep in mind that when you go to Twitch to look for this information, you can really only see who's live right now, not who's going to be live later today. So, for example, I'm not worried. My audience is not the same as... so there's another streamer that he and I host each other a lot. He's a C++ streamer. We don't have a lot of the same audience. I do a lot of C# and JavaScript, you know, like web stuff. He does lower level things like language development in C++. So there's some overlap, but not a ton in our audiences. There are a decent number of people that do... So Gareth, he's a good friend of ours here. He does an F# stream. And an F# stream and a C# stream, they overlap a little bit, but not a lot. The F# stream, for example, is probably not going to overlap as much, say, with a Python or streamer or something like that, despite the fact that the languages have a, you know, like any given language can have overlap with any other language. It's just which communities overlap. Okay, so we got this wired up. Let me take a look at what these changes are, because I did a little bit of renaming. I want to make sure I get this as a small commit so we don't get out of control here. So channel, scheduled stream, I love that rename. Stream goes away because it becomes channel. Stream time becomes scheduled stream. The session just picks up, just changes that variable. We added channel to the data context. I'm not going to commit that one yet. So that means that this is basically just a rename and a base class. Rename data model and create base class. Okay. So then this is going to be a separate part where I get into what we want to add to our data context and get that created. Oh, yeah, edit advanced view whitespace. Awesome. Yeah, so what Flem's talking about is I do Control RW, so like, you know, RW, like really white, to display the dots here for whitespace, which is really useful when you open up a file and you see one of these and you're like, oh, that white space there, why is that there? And you can just get rid of that. Whoops, not with a square brace. But you can just clear that out. You can see that there's problems. I will tell you, it's a really great indicator when you open up a project and you see like white space on the ends of files and things like that. This, when I see this in files that I grab, say I pull something from a GitHub repository, I'm already in here like, okay, probably this person doesn't use tooling that gets rid of these, so let's watch for a lot of, you know, naming issues, spacing issues, indentation, you know, so I'm on alert to keep my eyes peeled for just code. I don't want to say cleanness, because that we usually use that when we mean like the architecture, the design. The code itself is clean. It's more formatting issues that I can just be mindful of. So if I'm confused about stuff, I know in advance, hey, watch out, this person might have, like, things could be run together, we'll say. Unkempt. Okay, so Also, when you see code bases that have a lot of tabs and spaces in them, it usually means someone's been copying and pasting from the internet and hasn't made sure to tabify or spacify everything. Tabify, spacify, yeah, whatever we want to call it. Okay, so let's take a look at our data model. So I want to add in channels. So I think when I insert into the database, I want to add a channel at a time. Am I ever going to pull the other data? That's the question. Am I ever going to pull a scheduled stream or a stream session? Am I ever going to pull those out? Let's think through the scenarios for a second. So let's discuss. Hang on, white space doesn't overlap. You could also just change your settings to trim trailing white space and get... exactly, yes, so Wheatlol. What I was commenting is, when you see that kind of thing, that's an indication that whoever's code that is doesn't run those tools that automatically indent and reformat and remove white space. So you could have formatting issues in the file. Hey Senzuki, welcome, greetings. Glad to see everybody coming in and saying hi when you get here today. Feel free to not say hi if you are not all that social of a person. And what do we want to go with? A51, greetings, welcome. Prayat or A51, I'm guessing. And hi there. And Wheatlaw with another hiya. A couple of things I do want to mention because I've got people here. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out our Discord. It is actually a great place. We have like 400 plus developers in our Discord. So if you're interested in chatting with people about various things like that, are we for or against ending with new lines? Prate. Hopefully I got that right then. So I like the extra ending line on the end, but I'm not a stickler. I can go either way on that one. I like it, but if a project doesn't do it, that's fine. And so much tooling yanks them away or adds them that it gets kind of weird sometimes. I don't have a huge preference though. Yeah, see, very opinionated developers. We are a community that has strong stances on a lot of stuff. Okay, let me just jot down a couple of ideas here. Actually, Notepad's probably not the best place to jot down ideas. I just realized, because you won't be able to see them. Let's do this. I have exactly the place that we can jot down some ideas. Let's add in our basic user scenarios in our DevStreams project. So here's what I'm thinking. Couple of things that we want to be able to do. We want to be able to, so let's see, as a streamer, let's say as a streamer, I want to be able to add my channel to the system. So here's step one. So add channel. Add channel to site. So here's our user story, essentially. That's the concept. As a streamer, I want to be able to add my channel to the system so people can see my info. What do we got here? Yeah, it would be nice if the folks on the project share the same tooling config, but that's an opinionated preference too. Yeah, Prate. So I am a big fan of the editor config files, being able to enforce some of those things, but yes, I do think in any given project, everyone should follow a standard. I'm not strong on what that standard should be. I'm okay working on a tab project or a space project. I'm okay working with projects that have different naming conventions about how to handle Pascal casing versus camel casing, whether, how they want to deal with fields, locals, anything like that. But really the idea is it's best if you're consistent, because there's nothing harder to deal with than not knowing what it's going to be. Exactly, Flem. Consistency is key. Virtual space or vertical space? The program lacks virtual space. I add a ton of new lines at the beginning and end. Yeah, exactly. Flem chiming in with exactly what I was talking about. Okay, so adding a channel to a site. I'm not going to add anything else to this one yet. And we'll just call that an enhancement. That's a new feature. So there's the basic one. We need a page to add a channel to the site. I think we sorta are in line for having that already, but let's create it. So we want to be able to add a channel to the site. Once we add a channel, add scheduled, let's say view scheduled streams of channel. As a streamer or viewer, I want to be able to see, actually let's just say as a viewer, as anyone, I want to be able to see the scheduled, see a list of scheduled stream times for a channel in my time zone. So that's a big one, because for two reasons. First off, in order to do this, we first have to be able to get data in. So this is actually dependent on that data getting into the database first, which we just built a page that is going to get us that information to be able to save it. I see a bunch of stuff in chat. I'll get to that in a second, everyone. The second challenge here is this is when we first get into time zone conversions. So what that means is I need to be able to tell somebody, hey, I've got this scheduled for this time, here's what it is in your time zone, which is not always perfect. So what I'm planning on doing is, I'm planning on telling you for this week what those times would be that streamer streams, even though that might change. What that means is this. So there was a week-long period in the fall where Europe switched from daylight savings time to standard time before the United States did. What that means is during that 1 week time period, if you went there, you would see my stream time differently than what you would have seen the week before or the week after. So that's where it gets a little bit weird. But I think that's the stance we're going to have. So display times in viewers local times with using the time it would be for the current week. Okay, so let's say note that, and I want to bold this, so there we go. Alright, so let me catch up on chat. Maybe I need to edit these, maybe you were telling me about them. Okay, C# is going to rip if Bill loses 1v1 to Linus Torvalds. I have no idea what that even means. But I do like C#, it is a nice language. Virtual space is the padding on the bottom and sometimes the top that you can scroll further to have the last line more into the center of your view. Ah, okay, Wheatlall. Super glad to see the stream on pretty regularly. Great, glad to hear it. Yeah, so I actually stream 4 times a week normally on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. We're actually here for our Friday Funday, so I just figured, hey, we'll do a bonus day. Asterisk, yes. I do plan on doing some Xamarin at some point. I have done some native mobile development in Java before, for Android, obviously. And I do know a little bit about Xamarin. I've used it a little bit before, mostly playing around with it. I have no released applications for any companies in Xamarin, but I do like the concept, and I do plan on doing some of it on stream. When we do that, I will be bringing on guests to make sure that I'm not fumbling my way through the Xamarin. We'll do a little bit of fumbling because I think that has a lot of value, and it shows other people that, no matter who the developer is, we all fumble through code. So that's part of the learning process. Why would it show different times, or rather wrong times? Time zone switching should keep those edge cases in mind. So here's the idea, Wheatlaw. So for that 1 week, the time zone is wrong. So that just tells you what their schedule is for that week. So it's not wrong per se. It is what it's going to be that week. It's just if they check again next week, it's different. So there's not a great way to tell them, hey, this is what it is this week, but that's what it's going to be next week. And you could just say, we'll just show them this week and next week. But the problem is, well, what if there's a 2-week difference between them? Then do you show them 3 weeks of data? You could say, when do the time zones next not match, but I think that's getting too complicated and not providing enough value there. TBW, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. And hi. Okay, so that ought to get that one in there. So there's one of our stories. And yes, for anyone that is wondering, this is absolutely part of the development process, making sure that you get some user stories. And it's good both to check with users of the site. In this case, I am one. That's still not great. I should probably talk with some more users of the site other than just me, but I don't have that yet, so I'm hoping I can get a lot of feedback from the community once we build this and we can make a lot of changes. Okay, so add a channel to the site. We can view the scheduled streams of a channel. I want to be able to view all channels. As anyone, I want to be able to view a list of all of the channels in the system. That's going to be a feature. Next issue that I'm going to add in is, let's see, add scheduled streams. As a streamer, I want to be able to add scheduled streams to my channel. Using my time zone, so it automatically updates when my time zones observed time changes. So my time zones observe time changes, and so it automatically updates for things like daylight. I'm just gonna say DST. There we go. I think that makes sense. So when are you doing SpecFlow? Will, I really should actually do SpecFlow. You can probably write a bot that converts SpecFlow tests to issues. That actually would be a hilarious idea, Will. I don't fumble, I screw up. Yeah, exactly. So we all actually do, and that's one of the secrets of coding that I think that a lot of people lose by watching recorded content instead of more live streaming. So recorded content has a lot of benefits because you can remove a lot of the downtime, like these discussions, but it loses some of the things because I do a lot of recorded content too, and in those, I can tell you, I look perfect. And the reason I look perfect is if I do one of these where I'm typing along and I say var foo blah 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 blah. Oh, I made a typo. Hang on, let me fix that. That was supposed to be foobar equals that. I can just edit the video and you never saw the mistake. So that's the that's the trick, is like I can remove I can remove any mistakes I make, and all of a sudden I'm perfect. So it creates a lot of problems in the industry because you see people mess up. I should say you don't see people mess up in those. Hey Janisku, welcome. Okay, so we want to be able to add scheduled streams, view all the channels, view the scheduled streams. Scheduled streams for channel and scheduled streams. Let's start with these and see what we get. Hype, hype! Okay. So for this, we're adding these right in here. So that means we need to be able to pull data. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me do this. View streams by date. As anyone, I want to be able to view a list of all stream sessions, all streams scheduled for today. So anyone, I want to be able to view all this. Yeah, there we go. There's the big one. Okay, so all right, so viewing all streams scheduled for today means that I sometimes need to pull back scheduled streams based on only their data. The stream sessions might need to get pulled also for that. So the question is whether we're building this out. If we built this out, we could maybe... Wheelspin, I have no idea if you can hack that too, but I doubt it. Welcome. Thank you for that 3-month resub there, Wheelspin. And can we get some hype in the chat? Apparently we're getting hype from Greendolf. Sadly, my bot is not a... It's not a subscriber right now, so I will have to spam the hype in there myself. And anybody else that's in here and is a sub, be sure to spam that hype. Janisku, it's not rigged. Greendolf is allowed to ignore our cooldown times because he's a mod. I'm thinking scheduled streams may come back only as part of the channel, and we'll create stream sessions based on those scheduled streams. And this is what we'll actually set up. Stream session has what? It has the local as well as the UTC instant time. Yeah, no, I think that'll work. Because we can figure out for your time what a UTC time is as long as we scheduled based on this time. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's do that. So here's the cool thing that means. So big picture here. What that means is that channel is what we pull out of the database using our DB context. We pull a channel at a time and include the scheduled streams. We do not pull scheduled streams individually except for like editing purposes at best, is kind of the concept here. So I don't want that to be the way that we access them, so we're going to access them based on their channel, because I think that's a little bit nicer way to deal with it. Alright, so with that, let me confirm this data. So this has scheduled streams. A scheduled stream... Are we going to link back to the channel? I'm going to say no. We'll figure that out later. A stream session definitely link back to the channel because we're going to run them on their own. So we're going to pull them separately, so I think that one's going to need it. Let's see, remove channel reference from scheduled stream. Okay, now here's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we get our data model set up right so that we can use this. In the stream, actually in the stream with guest John, there was talk about a strong date in the database using the DB native format, but why couldn't you use timestamp and convert dynamically to the end user DTC, etc.? So Prate, that is a good question. So actually in the stream, let me just reread that. There was talk about a strong date in the database using the native format of the database. Oh, of storing. Ah, got it. I read that as strong. There was talk about storing the date in the database using the native database format, but why couldn't you use timestamp and convert dynamically to the end user's DCT? No problem. Okay, so actually that is a fantastic question. So basically what you're suggesting is, so what you're asking about is why can't you use the timestamp? And this timestamp is the basic way of saying what time is it without also including a date. And if we do that, what we'd essentially be storing, so there's two things that we want to have. If we do that, you want to store both the UTC time as well as the time the user actually said it is. So the reason is for events that happened in the past, you can say at exact what UTC time that event happened. For events that take place in the future, that is not known necessarily. So if I'm going to stream at 2 p.m. my time, whatever time it is where I am, at 2 p.m. I'm going to stream. If my time changes, then we need to account for that. So you can store the time span that way as long as there is an associated time zone with it. So that could be a separate field, but keep in mind that you have to have that time zone data if you're going to do it. So our options are, we can either store the time zone and the time span, store them together, or and obviously storing UTC in addition we can always do just for the convenience. So either one works. And Prate, no need to apologize. Asking questions on the internet is always a difficult one. So why is date time? Exactly, Prate. Why is date time so tough? I think one of the big reasons is that time is a very important concept for people to track, and the only people that have to deal with it in these really confusing and painful ways are us. Exactly. So as Will said, developers are the ones that have to deal with the difficulty. Politicians are the ones that create that difficulty, and it really is. Politics and governments all around the world need ways of tracking time, and it's needed for political and legal reasons. Exactly, as Simon mentions, a lot of it is historical too, because if you want to know the exact moment something happened, you need to know when it was in their time converted into any other given time. So it's really, really complicated, and we are some of the few people on this planet that actually have to deal with it. TBW, sorry to interrupt, but you were wondering if you can help with an issue. I cannot add a reference to my project because when I right-click on references, it's not there. You mean like you go here and you click add references and you don't see your project? My suggestion to you and anyone else that has those kinds of questions: number one, you can check Stack Overflow, or you can also hope that someone nice on our Discord can help you out with that one. Stream's actually a really tough one to do that kind of thing with because there's a delay from when I read your message to when I get back to you. So you can try seeing if anyone in our Discord can help you figure that one out, but I'm betting it's a pretty easy one. It seems like it's just something goofed up somewhere. If your project's not showing up in this list, if that's what you mean, then I think that's the real challenge with that question, is that need to know exactly what you're running into, what the problem is. Okay, so here's what I am going to do. I want to get a database migration so that I can get my database set up. I believe I already have a database. Let me check. Yep, I have a database. What's it called? DevStreams? That's a terrible name for a database. Why did I get that name? That name's terrible. I don't want a GUID on there, thank you. I want a nice, simple database name. Like DevChatter.DevStreams. Yeah, we'll go with that. Derp. Thanks, Janiscu. Nota time really is good. And DevStreams DB. Yeah, I could just do DevStreams DB. And yeah, Nota time is really fantastic. I like a lot of the way it works. It's really nice. Okay, so change dev DB name. Okay. Let's do it. So down here, I'm not covering this, am I? I am covering it a little bit. Let me pull it up. There we go. Let me see if it'll just make my database or not. I forget if I actually have to create it. DynoDB. Yeah, hype. DynoDB. Boom, crash. Okay. I can't remember if I need to make the database on my own or if it tried to do it itself. Hazel, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm going to try creating the database. I don't want to create it there. Why would I want to put it there? That's a terrible spot for a database. That's probably where the other ones are. Alright, I'll put it there for now. Whoops, I called it DevStreams DB, didn't I? DevStreams DB. There we go. Let's see if that works. Nope. Still crash. No suitable constructor found for entity type URI. Which thing was it trying to make? Which thing were you trying to make? Hey, Katrina, welcome. Do I? Oh, yes, I do, right here. Right, because it was trying to put these in. That's... Good call. I was thinking it wasn't even trying to use these yet, because technically it should be trying to do just the stuff for the identity. That's why I was like, yeah, it shouldn't use these, because it's just doing identity. It's not using my types yet. And the problem it was running into is it was trying to use mine. So let's take a look and see what it did this time. Should have tables, and there it is. So that's why I was confused. I was like, this is just doing the standard ASP.NET stuff. I shouldn't be having a types problem. So this should not be on mine. Okay, so Flipzor, hey, welcome back. So we are working on a project where we're going to allow developer streamers to schedule their streams so that other people can see them. And Simon, good catch on my having a URI in these types. I haven't converted any of these types yet. I need to do that still. Go Katrina. Yeah, so Goofy Deek Geek, love it. Can you do a snake prototype as fast as possible? Goofy, the hilarity is I was thinking about doing a snake prototype today in Vanilla.js. That was actually what I was planning on doing, and I decided to do this instead. So Tiggy, welcome everyone. This is actually a great place if you are interested in learning to code. I sometimes do episodes that are specifically designed for learning coding and C# JavaScript specifically. So check out my series. I linked it there in the chat. I do a Learn to Code in C# series here on the stream. Our last episode was last week, I believe, and we'll be doing another one next week. And these are basically follow along episodes, so you can actually go grab the basic tools for coding in C#, and within like the first 10 minutes you have a running program on your own, and then you follow along as we build more stuff and learn about coding. So if you're interested in learning how to program, be sure to check out that link which I put over there, and I'll show you where it goes. And make sure that you click on the Remind Me button right here, and that'll make sure that you get notified when we do another one of these, so that you can show up to those episodes. You're welcome to hang out at these ones as well, and I hope you pick up some stuff, but these are going to be like follow-along episodes. So as I mentioned, our last one was December 6th. I'm trying to get our next one scheduled. We'll see when it ends up being. Just because the holiday's coming up, it might not be until January, so don't kill me. But schedules with people are difficult, and I want to bring on a learner. So I have the idea. So essentially what I do is I bring on another streamer who is someone that doesn't know coding, and then we're teaching them on the stream so that there is someone that can ask the questions and follow along and make sure that the pacing and everything is good there. Goofy, no, I do not work for Twitch. I am just a Twitch affiliate streamer, and so I guess that means, I mean, I sort of, they give me money, but only as an affiliate, so I don't really make money from them, I wouldn't say. Goofy, yeah, so absolutely show up to those. It's really good. C#, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. There are so many places that you can use C# code. It is unbelievable at this point. So you can do C# code in Xamarin to do mobile applications for Android and iOS. You can build applications that run on Windows or Linux or Mac using C#. You can build games using Unity. Wheelspin, the hell you can! And yeah, Janisku's correct. There are mass tons of Twitch affiliates. C# can really do a lot of different things. And Simon's actually correct. Samsung TVs run C#. Yep. So there's all kinds of things. That's not to say it can run everywhere, but you can run it in a lot of places. So C# can do all kinds of amazing things. Alright, so I want to do some conversions of this data. So I need to remember how you do that. Channels, oh right, derp. What am I doing? I don't even know. Override. I want, it's an override, right? Hang on. EF core property convert. I forget what the thing is. Value conversions. Where is it? Yep, there it is. On model. Yeah, see, on model creating. Why wasn't that appearing? I don't know. I don't know. All right, there we go. SignalR is amazing. For people that don't know, SignalR is absolutely wonderful. Tiggy fan, have a good one. So as I mentioned, Tiggy, it's probably going to be in January just because of the holidays. I'm hoping for early January we'll do our next Learn to Code stream. But do check out our previous episodes. You can actually find them here in the video section on Twitch, as well as I have a YouTube channel that has archives of our Learn to Code episodes. If you want to check those out, it's a great place to look for that kind of content. Yeah, you can't put a... I don't think anyone's ever put a rocket on the moon with C#, but maybe they have. You can make cubes. What do you think of your next Learning to Code will be? On a side note, if anyone wants to feel dumb, I posted a puzzle in Discord. It's fun to watch people try to attempt to understand what the question is. Sounds good. Link to the Discord if you want to go check out Wheatlaw's puzzle. I don't know what it is. Goofy, what are you talking about? Wait, how are you working on a streaming thing then? And just so people know, I do build other tools and things like that to help with my own streams. So the chatbot that's in here is written by me. There's actually some other games and things like that that are running that you guys don't necessarily see, but like I have an overlay over the screen that lets me do things like this. So okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to modify the channel entity, and I want to adjust its URI property, because that I want. Oh wait, why is it even a URI? Why isn't it just a string? We don't need the special handling of a URI there. It can just be a string. But a scheduled stream does need some stuff. Because the ISO day of the week... do we want to store this as the string? I feel like I want to store this as the string. Goofy, what are you lost about? Should be... ISO... Will, are you answering? What? I don't know what question you're answering. ISO day of week. Oh, this is funny. This thing I copied was what I wanted to do. That's funny. That's good. That's good. We're gonna change that to X. Because I use X as my variable when I don't want to name it and when I'm doing a lambda expression. Sometimes I'll do a letter or a full word that makes sense, but if I don't really care and I'm just using it as a simple property selector, I just do X. So store day of week is string. Yeah, exactly. So yes, Wheatlaw, the reason why I want to store it as a string instead of the correct value here is instead of the number that this is associated with. So let me take a look at these. So the reason why is that I know I'm converting these. So Monday is 1, Friday's 5, so Sunday must be 7. Yep. None is 0. So these are the various values of these. If I store these values that way and someone else pulls them out using something else, we have a problem. If someone pulls them out by name, I'm okay. So I'm going to pull them out this way. You always do P for property. There you go. See, but that's the point, is like, it doesn't matter. It's like, if it doesn't matter, so I just do X, because I'm like, yep, X, that works. I don't worry about it. X, I don't, for when I don't care. So model builder dot entity of type stream session dot property, and it's going to be x dot. Okay, so I need to figure out how I want to store these time values, because I don't think it's going to figure them out automatically, but we'll find out in a second, I guess. You know what? Let's let it find out in a second. And what's on a scheduled stream? Anything else that's going to cause me a problem? The local times might. Let's find out what it does. I'm not sure what's going to happen when I ask Entity Framework to convert my Nota time values. Let's see what it does. How about putting this stuff inside your model? Make the API of your model ISO day of week. Oh, well, it would be a string then, but make the DB part of your model. I could wire it up that way, yeah. Let me see what this does first. So, add migration, test. So, yep, okay, so it doesn't know what local time is. Alright, I thought that might happen. But that's fine. So we just have to tell it what to do with local time. And actually, let's get rid of this one for now. We're just going to deal with this. We'll figure out stream sessions in a moment. And I want that required. Okay, so that's day of week. Let's do start time before we do end time, just because that makes more sense in my brain. Does WebSockets need a repeating ping to keep the socket open? Prate, I do not know enough about the networking that allows WebSockets to work. I think it is maintaining a mild ping just to keep that connection there, but I do not know the networking on how WebSockets keeps that together. So that is not something I've dug into far enough. So local start time has conversion. Local start time is required, and the conversion is not to string, I don't think. Okay, so hang on. Let me ask the internet. Hang on. Internet! Okay, so no to time. Local time entity framework. Someone must have done this. Yep, there we go. So one person suggesting that we store the alternate value there. Some instance to date time offset. Yeah, this is what we're doing. So to date time offset, does it have that? No. This is a local time, isn't it? Oh. Hang on. Was reading the SignalR docs but didn't see anything about it. So we're in Visual Studio right now, but for the Learn to Code streams I use VS Code. So Visual Studio Code is the one we do that. Yeah, this is Visual Studio. I have actually VS Code running right behind it. So they are both here. I can use either one for this. So as needed I can switch. So local time doesn't seem to have the thing I want. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say no to time, local time, because I want to see the documentation on it. I want to see how their local time works. So I think I need to... representing a time of day with no reference. So I kind of want to convert this to a time span in some way. I could store it as an int. let's see if we can go backwards that way. So hey, S&B, welcome. Glad you were hanging out there. You know, S&B, you can actually hang out in both streams at the same time. We are working on our DevStreams project. Okay, so this needs to return back... New local time. Local time. So then we could store it as a long instead of an int. Yes, S&B, you can actually watch more than one stream at a time. There are these things called tabs, and they're actually also websites that are designed for multi-streaming, and you can actually go to one of those websites and put two streams up side by side, and then just control which one's muted and actually have both chats. So there are actually whole websites for that. The Poom Poom Killa, welcome, greetings. We are working on an ASP.NET Core website in C#. We're not working on a game today. Did I not get my... Did I get all my stuff up? I think it might still say game development. If it does, I apologize. I will remove that. We're not working on a game right now. I was thinking about doing a short little game today, but we're not doing one today. So sorry about that. Adjusted my tags all the same. We do some game development sometimes here on the stream. We will be doing some game development probably tomorrow. I'm thinking about doing a one-off and starting another one of our game jams, hopefully a simpler one than Tetris, although our Tetris game is really coming along nicely. I thought I might do one of those as just a quick little fun thing this weekend. And then I want to remind everybody that next week we're actually going to have a guest here on the stream. I don't know if Simon and Flem are still in here, but we're actually going to have one of the two ASP.NET monsters here on Monday. It should be a lot of fun. So he's going to be pairing with us. His name is not Simon or James. So that'll be cool. Can it be on Roblox or Scratch? I actually don't know those ones, Goofy. I have not actually used Roblox or Scratch. I was planning on just doing a quick little JavaScript game. One of these days I'm gonna do. So I was gonna do it as a JavaScript game. You linked, didn't you? You linked. So I know what Scratch is, and sorry, our bot does not allow links in the chat, just for safety reasons. Because we're a developer stream, so we do occasionally get the person that tries to troll with some not so nice links, which is the only reason why we have that restriction here. Yeah, only Wheatlaw can post links. Actually, that's not Wheatlaw. I don't. You might be in the safe list, Wheatlaw. Yeah. Looks like Wheatlaw's allowed to. So there you go. I apparently greenlit Wheatlaw. So that was brave of me, wasn't it? Okay, so I wanted to do local start time, local end time, and do the exact same conversion both ways. So we will store those as a number of ticks since the beginning of the day, which means in the database, if you actually look at the data, you will not have any idea what's going on. You have to pull it out in order to read it, which is not ideal, but it's not the worst either. I don't consider it a terrible loss. S&B, who's a fool? I don't know what you mean by fool. The Fable, hey, greetings, welcome back. We are working on our DevStreams site, which is the schedule of developer streams We thought it was an interesting one, and I want to make a little bit of progress with it, so hence working on it today. Okay, Scratch is made with JS. Oh, cool! I didn't know that, Goofy. Did someone already try to alert the alert thing here? There was some chat client that did parse the HTML in the message. Flying Meat, what are you talking about? There's some chat thing that did parse the... Nice, Twitchloff. Hang on. There we go. Some chat clients were parsing this. Oh, yeah. No, Flying Meat. Yeah, mine will not parse that, as far as I know. I would get really mad at any service that ran any of those as HTML. That would be kind of annoying. Allowing Wheatlaw to post links. Weird. But the pop-up in your chat box does not display it. Flying Meat, I don't know what you... yeah, so I don't think mine is susceptible to that. Alright, hang on. Everybody's complaining that my bot's not running, so I'm going to go ahead and restart it. And there we go. Hello! Okay, anyway. What is this? Identity user login requires a primary key to be defined. I don't know what that one's complaining about. Identity user login string requires a primary key to be defined? It should be defined. I didn't mess with identity at all. We're using an identity DB context, and that should just be wired together. Oh crap. I didn't call base. Derp. My mistake. Don't. There we go. Okay, now it worked. Yeah, sorry about that, Goofy. Nightbot does that stuff, and yeah, that was really good. It was nice timing. Goofy, one of our mods can bonus you some coins to start off with. You earn coins from just sitting around in the chat. Every minute you're here, you earn more coins. So... okay, what did it create? It created a table called channels. In this table, we have an ID column that is an integer. It is non-nullable. It is using an identity column value generation strategy, so that means it's going to increment by 1 each time. Fancy stuff there. We then have a name that is allowed to be null and a URI that's allowed to be null. I don't like those. I want name and URI to be required. So I am going to do this. Let's call set up channels model builder. Model builder. And welcome someone. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. I will see who that was in but a moment. So I want to do this for channels. So we're going to say that. We're going to say channel. Doesn't have a day of the week. It has a name, and a name is required. And a URI is also going to be required. A couple of basics there. Goofy Geek, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. I'll take that to mean you're enjoying the stream. Not rigged. Help bonus. Yeah, see? I'm glad S&B figured out how to use the help for that. Oh, yeah, Twitchloft doesn't have permission to use bonus. See, the funny thing is, S&B, do what Twitchloft just did and try to bonus yourself coins. I think we built in a special message for mobs that tried to bonus themselves coins. I don't remember. I think we did. It's just being funny. And time zone ID also is required. So time zone ID. Okay, so all properties required, right? Because we were allowing nulls on those. Let's not do that. So test, and snapshot. Discard all three of those. That's why I call it test. It's because I wasn't planning on doing it yet, and I want to make sure that that's there. Did you seriously think this would work, S&P? Isn't that good? So exactly what Twitchloft tried to do, except that it gets caught with permission, so it doesn't even get to the command. Yeah, sorry. So Twitchloft, just a heads up, I am probably going to modify the bot so that it understands the VIP role as well, which will only be applied for streams that are in Twitch, but could be different. Chef, yeah. I'm glad there are a lot of people here enjoying the stream, and welcome. If anyone is new here, be sure to click the follow button to make sure you get notified when we go live, and also be sure to check out our code on GitHub, because everything we do here is actually open and available for you to look at, make suggestions, make changes. So, open source, you might say. Set up, what did we call this? It is that a scheduled stream? Okay, so we're going to set up channels, set up scheduled stream. So there's the scheduled stream stuff. Scheduled stream. These two need to be required. Day of week is required. And is time zone ID? We'll say for your regular stuff, it's on your time zone. You can't have regular stuff that's not on your time zone. That's probably going to break something that was probably a reference to that. I'll just lean on the compiler here. Stream time. Because we were trying to do it there. Okay, there we go. Because we are passing that up right now, and I think that'll get things working. Let's see. S&B is not rigged equals true, Brendan. Yes, exactly. Zuri09, you need help with math. I think there's actually a Stack Exchange site dedicated specifically to math. If you are interested in asking a question there, that's probably pretty easy. I have my solution to the question, but I'm confused how I got the answer. I want your take on the question. Well, I'm willing to hear the question, Zuri, so let me know. And if you all didn't figure it out from the chat window, you can actually just ask my bot for my schedule, and it'll give you the schedule in the time that you're in, doing a little time zone conversion. A new pattern is 8 millimeters after. Why be the Zuri, that is an interesting math question, but that one looks like one that will take time away from programming. So if you do want to ask people, if it is an interesting thing, feel free to ask that over in our Discord, which you can find links to down below. Or if you do want to chat with people, I would recommend you take a look. There is, I'm sure, a Math Stack Exchange website that you can check on, and people can probably help you out with that. Okay, so on post we do that. We don't need to be in here. I want to rerun our Entity Framework migration creation. There it is. It's always so hard to click on that. Alright, so I'm going to add our test migration again. I want to look at the code it creates and see what we end up with. Always fun. Alright, so here's what we got. It created channels, a table. We have our identity column right here. We have non-nullable, so required name, URI, and time zone. We have a constraint that is a primary key on the ID column. The foreign key is going to be on the other one, I believe. And DZ, DZ, welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. I'm going with DZ. If there's some other way you want me to say that name, let me know and I will try to say it correctly. Okay, so create table scheduled stream. It has an ID that's a primary key. It has nullable channel ID. What? Nope, that's required. Oh, because it's not a property. How do I tell it has to have one? I believe there's a way. So if we say scheduled stream, and we say has that's the primary key, so alternate key must be a foreign key, right? I don't remember how to do this one. See, S&B read the question, because he said that it assumed there's linear wear on the tires. Fixable. Hello, greetings, welcome. And Rubix, hey, aloha, Rubix, welcome. Welcome back. You're Fixable. You are a newbie in HTML, CSS, and most recently PHP. That's awesome. Welcome to the development world, Fixable. That is really cool. Charge knob is going to be used. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try channel ID. And say it's required. I'm going to try this. Oh, you're learning it at school. Very cool. That is awesome. And you're learning Python as a hobby. I used to be a Python developer. I've never been a PHP developer. I do a lot of... so I used to do a lot of Python. I do C# right now, and I'm mostly C# and JavaScript. I like them quite a bit. I have to do HTML, CSS, and those sorts of things as well. You cannot do web development and avoid those ones. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, wow. Now to think about it, 15 years ago, I probably would have called myself a Python developer, which is a really funny thing, considering I've been a C# dev hardcore for a good while now. I do really like it. All right, let's discard those. We are going to rerun this. one more time. Don't worry about that, it's the same command again. Hey, Twitchloff! Well, I'm glad that I've been able to successfully distract you for 4 months. That's really awesome. Thank you, Twitchloff. Hype. Let's get some hype in the chat, everyone. Got a 4-month resub there. That's pretty good. Janisku, yes, I saw the Windows 95 ugly sweater. Man, I want one of those so bad. It looks neat. What is the best way to set up a local host? Okay, on delete referential action cascade. I'm okay with that, actually. If you're deleting the channel, delete the scheduled pieces too. Channel ID is non-nullable, so non-nullable, so it did figure that out. Primary key, foreign key, channel ID goes to the ID of the channels table. Okay, so that finally looks right, which means I can go back here and I can undo these 3 changes one more time. And now when I go down here, I'm going to run it again, but this time, instead of calling it test, I'm going to say what I'm actually doing. Add channel and schedules. Add channel and schedule tables, I think is what I'm going to call that. Which I think makes some sense. And then this is going to make our migration for us. Which, if you look over here in the Solution Explorer, for anyone that doesn't know how this works, essentially it created this stack of files here. And that is this file here that we're looking at, which has the details of what it's going to create in the database. And then it also has this, which is a lot of those details. So notice this is the model builder that is doing all those things, which actually I should have defined mine this way. Now that I think about it, I should do that same thing. And then it also has a snapshot, and this is a snapshot of everything, not just our current changes. This is the detailed description of everything that's supposed to be getting created for this. So that's all auto-generated code that gets run when we do that. Windows 95 hoodie and jacket was so cool. I do want to see those. Easy PHP, we use it in school. Cool. I remember Windows 3.1, you could run a clock and DOS box at the same time before you ran out of resources. Yeah, S&B, I used Windows 3.1 too. I remember, booting my computer off of a 5 1/4 floppy, which was always fun. Let's just say that when I turn on my cell phone, it's quite amazing that is the world we're in when we used to boot into a text-based system off of a floppy disk. Like, the world has changed just a little bit. Alright, I actually kind of want to toss this for now and recreate it. I want to do one other thing, because I totally forgot that I can do this. Model builder.entity, right? And yeah. And I like this a little bit better, because it's slightly shorter to do it this way. Hey, we might get a cat stream here in a second, everyone. Which is always fun. Builder. Okay. Yep, we are totally getting a cat stream. Hang on. Hi. Come here, bud. Cat stream. Yeah. I remember writing for loops with counted down I minus minus instead of I plus plus to improve performance. There you go, Twitchloff. Let's see. Is a CS major of 3 years, bachelor's degree hard? Fixable. Depends on where you go. It really depends on where you go and what you know going in. Hey, Chandu. This cat is Jolie. He's a very sweet cat. We like him. We like him a lot. Yeah, he's really sweet. So you want a CS program to be hard because it's challenging, not hard because the professors are, we'll say, bad at teaching. That is the wrong reason for it to be hard. You want it to be hard because they're teaching you a lot. Although if you're wondering about completing it in the amount of time, I can tell you there are a lot of programs where you can do a bachelor's degree in 3 years without much difficulty. Builder. Dot that, and then replace this with builder, replace that with builder, delete, and move those in there. Yay. Okay, cool. There you go, S&B. Why your tabs are colored? Oh, you're wondering about the document well up at the top. Tabs meaning these tabs. So that's actually called the document well, and I run an extension that sorts them and colors them. So basically, they are grouped based on which project they're in over here in Visual Studio. So if you look, all the ones that are in core are these ones here. So these are in core, you can tell based on the color, and the ones in web are these ones. So they're sorted alphabetically. So I can always find them because they're alphabetical and grouped by type, and that is actually done by one of my extensions that I have installed, and it is actually part of the productivity power tools. Where are you? There we go. So it's this one right here, the productivity power tools that I have in here. This adds in a bunch of other extensions that do some neat stuff. One of the extensions that they bring in is called the custom document well, which is in here somewhere. Where is it? So the productivity power tools actually just installs a bunch of other extensions. It is like a group extension. It's in there somewhere, I promise you. And yes, Will, they did update it so that it's 2017 and 2019. So no longer just says the wrong year. Okay, so now when I come down here, I want to go ahead and I want to add this migration again. This time using the new format to make sure that it works correctly. Everything should look nice. Let's take a look. Channels, those are all the required pieces. Everything that's not supposed to be nullable is non-nullable. It looks right. Hooray! Okay. Before we do that, before we actually commit anything, I'm going to make sure everything still seems to run. Okay. When I run the site, it's going to yell at me to update the database. I'm going to let that run through the site. I want to try it that way. At least I think it will. We'll see if it does. It's supposed to. Whoops. Streams create. Did it not? It should. I guess I didn't try to pull anything from the database now that I think about it. Since I didn't pull anything, it's not going to do anything. So, never mind, it won't. I'll have to run it myself. Okay, so these still seem to work. That pulled the time zone, so my adjustments to that are fine. Let's go ahead and update the database. I forgot, it only yells at you and does it automatically for you when you access the database using the data context. Since I didn't do that... have a good run for grub there, Will. Hopefully it's a good one. Alright, let's take a look. Tables, refresh. It should have channels. And scheduled stream. Ooh, that should have been scheduled streams, plural. Yeah, I won't worry about it. Have a good lurk, too. Alrighty, let's take a look. This is adding channel and scheduled stream to database. Databaser. Okay. Perfect. Good, good, good. And happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully you're all having a good week. Going on into the weekend. Should be fun. Scheduled stream. Let's take a look at our basic pages. So I put that in the streams folder, but I don't think I want it to be there. I think I want to put that in a schedule. I want to put that in a schedule folder instead. Let's take a look at these two files. Me no ugly. How do you use JavaScript? Carefully. Thanks, S&B. Yeah, no, JavaScript is usually run in the browser, so there's actually a lot to it, more than that. So it's usually run in the browser, not exclusively, though. You can also run it through, like, Node, and it can run in some other places as well. What do you want to use JavaScript for? That's the big question. What do you want to use it for? And return null pointer, suggesting installing Node. So Node is essentially the... it's kind of like running JavaScript outside of a browser is really, I mean, the best way to explain it. I would call it the server component, but you could really run console applications with it as well. It's basically just a, I mean, I might call it a framework for running JavaScript. So if you want to run JavaScript, that's pretty much the answer. Is there really a use case for Node? So one of the things you'll find on the internet is that, especially among developers, there are strong opinions about different languages. Yeah, as Twitchlove mentions, if you are interested in just trying JavaScript and just like running some to learn it, you can check out JS Fiddle. It's actually a fantastic place to just kind of write some JavaScript just to test. It's basically you just put it in that web page and it lets you sandbox some things. So that's the idea there. And S&B's suggestion of head-first JavaScript programming would actually be a really good idea. For actually learning any language, if you don't really know where to start, buying a book or grabbing a course somewhere is actually a really good way to do it, so that you get that guided help. And really the big thing with learning any kind of tech is that you want to use it. So find some way where you can start trying it and learning it hands-on. That's the best way really to get any of this kind of stuff. So whether you're better reading a book or watching coursework or reading articles, I would definitely recommend one of those directions. And S&B's suggestion of Head First books, they're a fantastic series of books. Yeah, so return null pointer. Fleisch was kidding. Fleisch was kidding. He should have added the kappa on that. He needed the kappa emote. He forgot that. And yes, node is used in a lot of places. All right. Why is it not like that? Is that what I needed? Streams.schedule? That's what I needed. Okay, I got it. I got my using fixed up there. And yes, as Twitchlove mentions, there's Code Combat, there's Coding Game, there's Code Wars. There are all kinds of websites that are designed for essentially doing simple code that just gets checked by the website to verify that you did the correct thing, and if you did, then you do well. If not, so there's all kinds of websites that'll do that kind of stuff. So there's lots of great ways to learn coding if you're so inclined. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to do a basic add razor page and just, well, actually, let me finish that move first. So I moved those files. Let me confirm that works. Don't break the website, Brendan. Don't break the website. Streams, schedule, create. Okay, brought me here. Stream time. Yep. Okay, everything's still working. Okay. Whoops. Clicked on the wrong thing. Alright, so move the create page to a schedule folder. So that's where it really goes. Alright, so data entry pages. Let's go ahead and add in razor pages. Let's get a basic set of CRUD pages created for us. So one of the nice things built into Visual Studio with regards to the ASP.NET Core is that they created these templates essentially that will scaffold out a set of pages that has the basic CRUD operations using Entity Framework's data context. So it's actually quite nice to be able to just use this to get yourself that start. Big fan of what they scaffolded here. I don't exactly use the same structure they do, but I love that they did this because we did need it. So we called it streams, and I probably should have called it channel. We'll fix that later. Use a layout page, reference script libraries. Sounds good. I have been live for just over 2 hours at this point, and I am supposed to have consumed 8 ounces of water or something similar. That's a max taste right there. Not sponsored. Wow, everyone. Yeah, ounces of Pepsi. Exactly. Thank you, S&B. Look at this, everyone. It's a double cat stream. He came back. Yeah. Oh, that purring. What a good boy. Cat stream. Say hi to everyone on the internet, Jolie. Yeah, he's such a sweet cat. Kind of. So what you guys don't realize is the way that I know he's here and he wants to get picked up is he just comes up and he starts clawing into my back. It's so sweet. Yeah, Twitch Loft, he probably does want food, but his food dish is full of food, I promise you. He just wants the attention. He wants a nice, comfy spot. Okay, so it goes and creates all these things. I am going to get rid of all of its extra using statements that it makes. Wish it didn't do those. Okay. Let's take a look at what it made with these. Everybody loves a cat stream. I really should have linked that. Streams. No, not create. Wait, but there is a create. Anyway, that's confusing. Okay, so create new stream. And then it wants a time zone ID, which I don't have. So that's where we need our picker. Okay, let's go steal that. Hang on, here we go. Where did I put that? That is in schedule create. Hang on. Time zone. Okay, now you guys get to see all the horrible code that I did this with. Inside of this, I really should change how I did this. So I'm going to put this on its own down here for now. Mega big, actually, before I do this, let me commit this. That way we'll see this as its own change instead of the whole creation. So this is just the scaffolded pages. Yeah, okay. Create default CRUD pages. Thanks, dude. Create default CRUD pages for channel. Okay, so there's the CRUD pages. Awesome. Will, what kind of grub did you get? They opened a cat cafe, Essenby. That's awesome. Okay, let me delete that and that because they're not needed. I'm going to remove the column sections on these. What's that page? Actually, what does the page look like right now? I had it up, didn't I? It's appearing right above it. That's fine. We'll let it appear right above it. We'll remove this div as well, so These will be side by side. I'm simplifying the structure. We'll have to fix it up later if we want that to work. Okay, so that means I'm going to get rid of this div as well and clear out that column sizing there. Clear out that. Class form control ID time zone stuff. Stuff and things. Okay. So now I'm going to make a form group for this. So form group, I'm going to take off the word row because it should do that by default. Okay, so stream time is not what we're using. We're using channel. Channel time zone ID. Now let me go to our model here. I'm gonna hop over here into our CS file. Oh, did I not get rid of the... Didn't clear out the unused usings in this one. My mistake. Okay, so that is actually off of channel, which I don't want to do. I want to pull these off a model, I think. We'll take a look at that one in a second. I need countries. So let's say prop I enumerable of what did I do in the other one? Oh, I did it like that. Yeah, that'll work. And actually, let me do it as a get set, even though I don't need it. So we'll do that, and then don't need the semicolon at the end of the line. I will check chat in a second, everyone. Just give me a sec. Alright, countries equals... Okay, where did I set countries in here? Set it equal to that. So that's what we're going to do. Countries, boom. Bring me those types. Perfect. Okay, so that should grab that data. The schedule one. So we'll call that country. Let me see. Refactored most of EF Core. Yeah, I redid all of EF Core. Your concept of a second. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm using libraries to handle all that time for me there, Will. Is because seconds are a really long time for me. Channel time zone ID text danger. Danger! Okay, and actually I'm realizing I want that on that one as well. And this is... actually, no, there's no validation on that. Because if you didn't get the other one, we need you to select a country so you can select the time zone. Hopefully people can figure that one out. Then we get the validation on those, that. And our scripts section. Ooh, yes, the scripts section. I did special stuff for that. Don't mind this right now. Magic. Just hard-coded for now, not doing it, you know, the nice way or anything. Just gonna hard-code in a thing that'll get me some scripting. Alright. Let me find out if that works. Actually, I might need to rebuild before I can do that, because it's not gonna rebuild the back end. Maybe it will, I don't know. Okay, so it runs at... do. Cannot find the element app. What? I didn't wrap it all in app. That's my mistake. Div, class, div. What div is that? We're gonna put this as ID app. App. No, when I run it, it should work. I should give it a better ID than app. Okay, so name. DevChatter. URI. Well, I know that URI. That would be this one right here. The country where this stream takes place is the United States of Eastern Time, New York. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Cool. We got it. We got it. Victory. Alright, so cool. That's creation. We now need edit. We need edit to work. We want display on delete to work. Things like that. So the URI displays, time zone displays. When I go to the edit page, you'll see that's not what I want to edit. So I need to put the same thing over there on the edit page that we just put on here. But first, I want to commit this. Allow time zone selection on channel create. Okay. So, let me delete a whole bunch of them. Man, I got all these files open. Stop opening files. Alright. Close that. We don't need that right now. Let's go open up the create page, create, and edit, and... yeah. And edit. Okay, so we have these pages open. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with them. So... what? Details? No. Edit. There we go. So now if I go to create CSHTML and edit CSHTML, I want to, on this one, add ID equals app for now. And I'm going to need to modify this because I want these to actually work a little bit different for now. I'm going to let them use the same one and not worry about it, but later on we're going to want to fix that so that they're not using the same one. I mean, they can use the same code, but I want this to be a component that we add on. So we're going to make this a view component that we just load in, and it's going to be our time zone selector, where we'll grab your time zone. Is the app going to highlight stream clashes at all? So S&B, my plan is to show like calendar style, like what you would get if you use like a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar or something like that. So you can look at the today's events, and if you have a whole bunch, we'll probably just, you know, hide them, or list them and be like more and something like that. But then I want to actually like show, so you'll see like two overlapping ones is the idea. So I want to display it that way so that you can see what's going on today. And we're going to recommend that you filter down. So I'm going to hide most of the data unless you filter down is the idea. So that way, if you showed all DevStreams, for example, you'd probably just see like a whole bunch of overlap, because of course there's going to be a lot of overlap. There's more than one stream at any given time. Probably what we'll do is I might we might call out to the Twitch API to determine our ordering, and either base the ordering on maybe the your preferences or something like that, or we could do something where if you're logged in, streams you follow get preference. So something like that. So we might let you, like if you logged in, for example, you could see streams you care about more or something like that. But that's like future stuff, right? For now, let's just focus on getting the basics in here. So, okay, so we have that stuff included on this page. I then want to switch out. We want countries all the way down to there to replace this time zone. Okay, now the model needs countries. On get async, let's not pull the country data. Not that it pulls it out of a data. I mean, it's got a database, but it's like a file-based database. It's like embedded in the DLL. But let's still not pull it until we have the actual channel. So we'll make sure that it's valid before we do that. I need to build first, because the back-end code isn't working yet. Really? Yep, alright, wants me to stop the site. Cool. Stop the site. So I still haven't managed to get Pepsi to sponsor our stream here. But if anyone does have connections there, feel free to, have them reach out to me. I would love to be a Pepsi-sponsored stream. I don't know what that would mean. Okay, back to the list. Here it is. So there's our data. And if I go to edit this, it didn't pull the country and time zone. Right, because I need to bring that in. Water is better. There you go. Gatorade not only quenches your thirst better, it tastes better too, Will. Laurel, I hope they would send me cases of Pepsi to drink on stream. That would sound great. Hang on. Which bottled water company does Pepsi own? Aquafina, that's the one they own. Aquafina, right there. So they could send me Aquafina if they want. That'd be okay. I'd be fine with that. I could drink that. Laurel, I was quoting a movie. I was just kidding. Laurel's not a fan of the Gators, everyone. All right. No, just not the drink. Okay, so. Yeah. Let's see. So in the edit page, I need to come back with all the channels. I need to come back with the countries, but then I also need to come back with. So I should store country. I need to store which country they picked. I need that extra data. Oh, that's funny, Laurel. I also drink Powerade. I have Powerade downstairs. I do not have Gatorade. Hang on. Who owns Powerade?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Oh, that's funny. Powerade's owned by Coke and Gatorade's owned by Pepsi, so there you go, I think. Welcome, Miney. Thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. And welcome, everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. If you haven't clicked that follow button, be sure to do so. It's how you get notified when we go live. And I know people say that all the time on YouTube videos and things like that, but with live streams, you do actually want to show up when it's going on so you can actually talk to the streamer. In addition, if you missed any of our previous episodes and you want to catch those, they are actually all archived on YouTube, so you can see them there, but I delay putting them on there, so if you want to see our recent stuff, that's only here on Twitch in the videos section. But you can actually go to YouTube to check out that stuff as well. And then also, if you want to chat with me or any of the other DevChatter viewers outside of the stream, best place to do that is to join our Discord. It is a chat application. I know you probably have a lot of chat applications. This one is designed for gamers, Twitch streamers, and things like that. It is also good for people that run projects. We have like 400 some people in our Discord at any given time. There's usually at least 100 people online, so you can go check that out. There's a lot of cool people over there. Privet_DevChatter. That's nice. You made an account just to follow me. I like it. Thanks, Privet. Okay, so I have realized I need to adjust my data model because when thinking about this screen, I want to load up their country and their time zone in order to display this. Now, I could just show all time zones, but I like filtering it. Oh, it's hello DevChatter. Nice. I like it. See, you learn something new all the time. Thanks, The Fable. Okay, so let's change that model. We're gonna save that data. So, in addition to time zone, we're going to get country. Country code, which we're not really going to display anywhere publicly. I think we'll just do that as, like, somebody wants a backstage pass. Yeah. So, we're going to do country code right there. Which does mean we want to get that data saved. Let me clear out the data. So we're going to view this. Goodbye. Goodbye, my channel. Goodbye. And I'm not worried about resetting the IDs or anything like that. Having them start at 2 is not a problem. Okay, I added country code. So let's do this. On the create page, how do I want to save this? Because I really did put these in here nicely, and they wire up well. So I guess this is an ASP4. We'll say channel.country code. Which, actually, I realize I really want to have a better display label for that, because it's going to say country code, and that's just not a great label for it. Which is why you don't really want to use the model that I shouldn't use the models. Brendan, why are you using the models? I don't know. I shouldn't be. I should be using a DTO. I will switch to that at some point later. So there's a country code, there's a time zone ID, and this is going to be an ASP4. ASP-4. And if you don't know what these ASP-4 and other things like that are that I'm doing, this is part of just Razor syntax. Essentially, when these get compiled by Razor, it looks for these values. They don't end up in the final HTML. I should say they're not HTML tags, really. These are Razor tags, and they are telling it what code to do. So this is telling it, hey, go ahead and bind this to the country code property so that when we send this data, it gets treated as part of that. So I have separate bindings here, so this is a Vue.js binding, and this is an ASP.NET binding. So one of those is a binding for the server side, and one of those is a binding for the client side. So this is here because on the client side, I want to be able to react to this value and change these things. Laurel, yeah, no problem. Anyone, feel free to jump in, ask questions if I say something that's weird. DTO, like we use lots of acronyms for things. So as S&B says, it's a data transfer object. I actually usually would say data transfer object. So essentially, whenever you're transferring data from one place to another in some form, it's common to use a data transfer object for that. So the idea being that sometimes the data you transfer doesn't match what you have in your database, in your actual model, or in your domain, something like that, right? In some way, that data is different. So, for example, if I let you create an account in my website, I might have, as one of the fields in my model, I might have a property like, something about whether or not your account is a subscriber, or whether or not you're a VIP, or something like that. I don't want that model being used. I instead just want you to tell me what's your name. So some of the fields I might be reserved that only admins can access and things like that. Like moving him from the Enterprise to a Klingon vessel. Yes. Basically, it's the transporter. It's a data transfer object. It is an object that transports data from one place to another. Ah, man. We have nerds here, everybody. We have nerds. Oh, right. I have to add my migration. I didn't add my migration yet. Add country code to channel. Let's see what it does with this. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, Laurel. We use acronyms for all kinds of things just offhandedly without even thinking, like, oh yeah, not everybody knows those. I try to be much more cautious about that on my Learn to Code streams. So I know I mentioned it before, but I don't know if everybody was here then. I do some Learn to Code and C# streams where I do actually teach beginner programs. If anyone's interested in becoming a programmer, you are a beginner, a learner, anything like that, feel free to join those. It is one of the better ways to kind of engage in that kind of stuff. Because we do like, together working on projects. So you can essentially just start from scratch. You don't need to know how to program at all, and you can just join us and code along on your own machine. So we try to make it easy, we try to make it fun. Okay, hang on. I am undoing that change I just made, and I'm going to redo it here in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to rerun my my migration by running that command again, and we'll see what we end up with. I'm a geek, bit of a nerd. I have yes, exactly, S&B. I have an understanding of the model, although it's been some months since I've actually had my fingers in code. Ah, Laurel, yes. Many of us have had to spend a lot of time not touching code. For example, on Tuesday, I had to re-remember how ASP.NET Core worked because it had been quite a while since I'd actually used some of these things. So I was like, oh yeah, I sort of remember this. I haven't done it in 4 or 5 months, but yeah, I remember this. Okay, so I like that better. Non-nullable. Default is we'll say blank for now, which is okay. Hopefully we always do have a value. If you think devs have acronyms, I was in the military, no contest. Oh yeah, that's fair, Will. Yeah, so there are a lot of places that have acronyms. Devs aren't the only ones with acronyms, but any groups that have a lot of acronyms that they know, whenever they start using them internally, everybody that knows them already is totally fine. And if you don't know them, you're kind of stuck on the outside. So feel free to shout out and yell at me if I use an acronym on something. I'm not trying to like exclude people from the conversation. I sometimes just use them because I'm just kind of used to it. So if I do that, sorry. I will try to explain. Are the beginner streams scheduled on particular days? Yeah, so it's not a specific day of the week. They are one-off scheduled for the most part because I try to schedule in a guest on my Learn to Code streams. So the next one is not scheduled yet. It's probably going to be in January, although I do want to get a few scheduled at once the next time I do it. So we bought the cat a cat bed from Amazon today. The cat just settled down in the box the cat bed arrived in. Oh, S&B, I actually have the solution for you on that. So in my house, I actually have the cat bed permanently stored inside of a cardboard box. The cats love it. They sleep in the cat bed, and there's a cardboard box over it, so it's sort of like open so that they can like sit in it. So they like walk in through a hole and sit down in it. So it's kind of like a cave with a bed in it. They really love it. You went to a boot camp with a local company where you learned foundations of C# and .NET. Laurel, that's awesome. Yeah, I like all the companies that do the boot camps. There are some that are really good and can actually teach a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. That's not to say that, like, yeah, you come out of there, you're going to be like some rock star dev. No, but they really do cram a lot of information to you in those weeks. They use the boot camp as an interview process to see if you had the app for learning software development. Even though I got a QA position with them, I did really well in the boot camp. That's good. I do get their reasoning for that. So I used to run an internship program where we would actually just bring people on and have them work on projects with us, and we would hire a good number of our interns, but not always. So and some of that was just we didn't have a spot for them when they finished. Some of that was you know, that well, the internship in some ways is like you know, a 3-month long you're getting paid for it interview. So then we would usually bring on college students for that, which I will tell you, getting any kind of internship, you come out with much better job prospects. So I do recommend it for basically everyone and anyone. So now if I run this, it should tell me that I can press a button and it will update my database. Mr. Bubs! Hey, welcome. Oops. Really? Greetings, Bubs. Welcome. We were just talking about you a minute ago. Hey. And welcome, Zav. Yeah, yeah, see? Will's excited to see Mr. Bubs here. Yeah, sort of. I was sort of talking about you. I didn't mention you by name, but I was talking about how I was trying to get our next. I was trying to get the next Learn to Code stream scheduled, and that requires that the learner be available at some point for those streams. So I was suggesting we probably wouldn't be able to get our next Learn to Code stream until January, because my weekend coming up is not great, but we should talk scheduling if you're still interested in doing that. We might just shoot for a weekend. See, Bubs shows up and you get Will and Katrina and S&B all saying hi. So, and hey Zav, welcome. I saw you say hi in the chat as well as the follow, so thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Yeah, exactly, Bubs. I do know your current schedule would require that it be on a weekend because, so for those of you that don't know, Bubs and I both have small humans, and so his having a regular like normal person day job right now means that I can't pull him in the middle of the day. So. Let's see, United States and Eastern Time, New York, create, apply migrations, and refresh the page. Okay, so America, New York, there it is. Perfect, it went through. Now here is the question, did I get a country code? My label's not set up yet, so let's check out this label first. So let's steal this label. Put it right there. I wonder, can it do the... I might have to add a mount in view in order to make it automatically run right off the bat. We'll see. And I do... yeah. Let's find out. Try it. Click. Cross fingers. Rip. Didn't work. Ooh, hi, Jolie. Wow, a triple cat stream, everyone. I don't know if you guys can actually hear him purring. I'm hoping with the audio off that you guys can hear him. No. Yeah. If you are familiar with SQL, creating tables, etc., is there a reason to use EF and go through this? Seems like a lot of setup. Katrina, no, you don't really need to go through this. There's a couple of solutions. One of them is you could use the basics of this and have EF be the database that you do for handling all of your identity stuff, because that came out of the box with ASP.NET Core. So you can just get all your user access through that, and then you could go ahead and run Dapper for the rest of your database access if you'd like. So you do not have to write all your own database migrations and things like that. Part of the reason why I do it on the stream with Entity Framework, so in my side projects that are not the ones I do on stream, I usually run Dapper as my database access. And I like Dapper because it's lightweight and easy to use. But part of the reason why I use EF is because a lot of people are going to use it because it came out of the box, and I really want to show people how to use it. So you're right, there's a lot of little side things that you have to do to make EF work. So it's a toss-up. I like it. It's good. It's a bit enterprisey sometimes. It's probably the best way of describing it. T Consulting. Oh, you like Jolie? Yeah, he's a really sweet cat. So you just leave the user auth, etc. in there with EF, etc., but the rest can use Dapper. Exactly, Katrina. So you could go rewrite everything and use Dapper to do your auth, or alternately, you could not use the out-of-the-box auth from ASP.NET Core, and you could use a secondary one. So there are actually external services that can do your authentication and authorization kind of stuff, and you can just go reference those, like Auth0. So there are other products like that. I should mention, not sponsored. Is Link to SQL still around? Will, not exactly. So Link to SQL was, I would argue, a competing way of dealing with data access, as opposed to Entity Framework, where Entity Framework was built by the data teams at Microsoft. Link to SQL was built by the .NET guys. And so that's why one was focused on the database and the other one focused on how you did stuff with code. Essentially, those two merged together. So, they're not everybody's on EF now. So if you used Link to SQL before, you just use EF now, and it's basically the same thing. What was I doing? Okay, so countries came back, country code. Oh, I didn't ASP for this. That's my mistake. That's why it didn't wire together. Really? Let me take a look. Did it go in the data? Did it save? Country code, US. Alright, so it went in there. Oh, selected country from the model. And that I set to null. So I know how to fix that. That is me breaking that. That is... that. Selected country is whatever value is on that object by default. Is it worth it to start with C++, or do you recommend starting with C? Royale with cheese. There are cases to be made for learning C, C++, or starting at a higher level language like C#. I would not learn C first. If you want to start with low-level languages and actually understand what's going on in your programming languages, I would start with C++ as a good starting language. If you want to just get started programming sooner, I would learn C#. The big answer that I would give you for a lot of things, yes, exactly, Laurel, is I would say figure out what you want to do with your programming first. What is it you want to build? What do you want to create? What kind of developer do you want to be? And then choose a language from there. So find out for whatever it is you want to do they use C? Do they use C++? What languages do they use normally in whatever industry or type of program you want to use? And then that's where I would make that selection. But I don't think that that most developers need to learn C. They're not really going to use it, and the only reason that I would even recommend most developers learn C++ is if you want to have that understanding of what's going on underneath the hood, starting with a language like C++ is a good way to do it. Okay, hang on one second. That said, in our CRM work, we are busy expunging link to SQL from our services. Nice, S&B, there you go. Note of time. I have a project on a server that when daylight savings time, I have to literally change the code. Oh man, Katrina, that's terrible. Man. Note of time can absolutely help you with dealing with time zones, Katrina. You should watch the video on Tuesday, and your mind will be blown. If you didn't watch Tuesday's stream, go check out the video. John Skeet was on here. We were talking about time zones and things like that, and his understanding of time zones, you will just be astounded. Let's see, how does one figure out, Laurel, that's a huge question. You prefer Swift over C#, but I don't know. So I have not actually messed with Swift, but I've seen it a little bit. It seems like a similar take on things, and I really do want to check it out. I think it's probably a great language. I actually didn't mind Objective-C, to be honest. T Consulting, awesome, glad you like it. Yeah, Auth0 is a nice way of handling that sort of thing. And yeah, Twitchloft, there definitely is a case to be made for C over C++. Although, interestingly, some of that's just different stuff to learn. So because with C++ being, like anything you could write in C, you can pretty much write in C++, it kind of means that there's more to learn in C++. The difference being that you can skip a lot of the things that you would otherwise do the C way, you can do it in the C++ way. So it's whether you learn it or not. And thanks for that follow, T Consulting, much appreciated. Klingons, JS, Borg, Assembly... Oh man, Ferengi VB? Oh geez, that's so... that's weird. Yes, there you go, Will. 1:30 a.m. happens twice or not at all, mind-blowing. Yes, exactly, S&B. Sometimes it happens only once, depending on the place also, because some places don't switch in the same way we all do. Yeah, exactly. So Katrina, so one of the complexities is I actually had to work on a project one time where they brought me in because they suspected that their developer did not know what he was doing. Consequently, what I found is their developer did not know what he was doing. So some of the mistakes were based on time. So all logs and everything like that of important data were stored in local time for the server, which meant that on daylight savings time shifts, you'd have either a 23-hour or a 25-hour day, and time was all mashed in bad ways. So they had some really bad data as a result of that. There were a lot of other problems too, but that was one of the problems, is they stored data with dates that were like that. And this is a site that had, you know, many records every second, so that means a lot of bad data. So, and the problem with it is you can't always figure out what it's really supposed to be, like, so kind of borked, but what are you gonna do? Let's see, I was actually working on UI automated test scripts for the iOS app that I was working a QA on. Oh, awesome, Laurel. Yeah. Automated UI tests in Swift. That sounds fun. Maybe it's a stupid question, but is Auth0 a competitor to Firebase? Saw the price model for OAuth was much better anyway. So Firebase can do that kind of stuff as well. I would not describe Auth0 as a direct competitor to them because they kind of have a different take on some of the things that they do. But I have worked with Firebase before. It's not bad. Firebase is, I would describe that more as like a data platform more than anything else. So Firebase is good. I like it. Auth0 is good. I like it. I like both of them. Feel free to take a look. Auth0 is really just focused on the authorization aspect of things, where you would usually, I think, keep more of the stuff on your site, and most of what you'd put on Auth0 is like a permission set. Yes, S&B. Firebase is, that's correct. So, as I recall, in Firebase, essentially everything's just JSON data once it's over there. Pluralsight, I think I may have watched some of your courses there. Hey, Laurel, yeah. Yep, I am a Pluralsight author. I'm actually working on another course for them. So should be good. Only started working on it really recently. My new course on there, but I've got a couple of courses on there, so you may have seen me there. I really want to start experimenting with programming an Arduino kit. If you're not going from... Oh, a really fun way to start experimenting with programming is to get an Arduino kit. Yes. Exactly, Twitchloft. That is actually one of those things that is bringing more people into the development world. That's awesome, Laurel. Yeah. I don't complain when people watch my Pluralsight courses. They pay me based on the amount of like the amount of people that are watching my courses. So I'm always glad when people watch them. So that's a good thing. Okay, so I need to fix that. We're gonna have to get that one working. So we're adding country code. So add country code to channel is what we're doing here, right? Okay, there we go. I also want to mention, there have been a bunch of people chatting in here. You would probably be interested in chatting with other people outside the stream. You should check out our Discord. It really is a good place to talk with other devs. We have a really good group over there. We are a pretty chill, I don't know, group of developers. I think it's kind of fun. They're good questions, lots of channels. If I'm missing channels that you guys think we should have, or you think we should merge them, feel free to mention that to me. In addition, if you want to work on any of our code, it is actually out on GitHub. We have a bunch of projects. You can seriously submit pull requests or issues, or just look at the code in any of them. So feel free to help out. As I mentioned, at the beginning of this stream, I explained what it is we're building here today, like what this site is. So if you want to find out what this is our DevStreams site. We are going to set up a calendar so that various developer streamers can essentially just give us their calendar, and we can display who is live when. I'm hoping we can pull some additional data from other sources, so maybe one of our sources will be intelligently trying to grab that data based on actually finding out when their streams happened on Twitch in the past and predicting for the future. But then we can also do things like potentially connecting to their Streamlabs calendar and pulling the data from there. In addition, we can also just have them enter the data on the site. So right now we're working on data entry on the site, but we have other cool things that we can do in the future as well. So feel free to check those out if you want to look at that. This is obviously ASP.NET Core, C#, and then we're doing JavaScript with Vue.js as part of this. The Vue.js is not set up very well yet. I kind of just shoved it in today so that we could do a little bit of it on the stream, and it worked out pretty well. If you missed some of our earlier streams from the week, we had Ed Charbonneau here on Monday, we had John Skeet here on Tuesday, so we did an awesome kata on Monday, and we did some stuff with date times on Tuesday. We had a great stream on Thursday as well. Hey Ori! I was in another channel and saw someone that had your emotes. They apparently got gifted to them, so I thought that was really cool. And thanks for hanging out, Ori. Vue, I'm surprised more .NET devs aren't using Vue instead of Angular. Yeah, so Ed, I actually am a big fan of Vue.js. It is actually, I like a lot of the style that they went with. I think it's a very cool approach to, what's a good word? Actually having a framework for, you know, building a more reactive application in the web. I think Vue does a nice as a nice syntax for that and works well. Yeah, and it fits easier with Razor than Angular. Exactly, Ed. I really do think it does. Angular always felt like a bear to connect to anything Razor. It was kind of a pain. Other things I want to mention, if you are not following me on Twitter, you can do that also. I sometimes announce the stream there, but the best way to get notified when we go live is to follow the channel. And make sure when you do, hang on, let me pull this up on the screen so I can mention. What? No, that's not the one I want, because I can't show it on here. Hang on. Let me open it in another one. Make sure that when you do this, that you have this little notification turned on. Mine's turned off. I don't need notifications when I go live. I know when I go live, because I did it. So that is what I recommend there. Best way to get notified when we go live. As I said, I stream 4 times a week on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And this is when you say, but Brendan, it's Friday. Well, we did a bonus stream today. It was Friday Funday. And some people suggested, hey, yeah, I should just do my stream. So I did. So here I am. And as I mentioned, if you are one of the beginner people, you want to learn to program, and that's why you're here, I am going to get more Learn to Code in C# episodes set up. You saw Mr. Bubs TV was in here before. He and I are going to be doing those as dual streams going forward. So he is another streamer. He's actually a gaming streamer. He's a good friend of mine. And we decided, you know, it would be a lot of fun, especially to have another streamer, because that's someone that can really interact well with an audience. And we would have him, you know, basically be the learner that would also be comfortable making mistakes in front of people on the internet, which, by the way, is a tall order. Let me tell you, as someone that makes mistakes in front of people on the internet, it's harder than you think. So anyway, those are the things that I wanted to tell all of you about. I will be streaming again tomorrow. Our stream starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check the schedule to find that out. You can also find it down below. But if you want to just do the math, you can look at your calendar, subtract 3 hours and 23 minutes, and that is our start time tomorrow. That could be, Laurel. But either way, I do have some nice courses on there, so feel free to watch them. Hopefully, if you do, you enjoy them. I've got a nice one where I pair program the whole time with Steve Smith. Steve is an awesome guy if you don't know him, and I really did like our pair programming course on there. So with that, let me check a couple of things and click a couple of buttons. So first off, I am glad you liked the bonus stream today. Let me go ahead and roll some credits, because I do have a lot of people that I want to thank today for various stuff. So, Katrina and Crimson Green and Ed and Essenby and Greendolf and Stoolpenner and all the other mods that were here that didn't somehow get on that list, thank you for helping out with the stream today. All these fine people in this nice list here that followed the stream, greatly appreciated. If you are in here and you haven't clicked that button yet, be sure to click that button so you can get notifications when we go live. And Wheelspin and Twitchloft, thank you very much for those resubs, both of you. Greatly appreciated as always. And I want to make sure that I thank everybody that does sub to this stream. I do appreciate it, whether you sub or cheer or whatever, help out, just chat, whether you're just sitting here as a viewer, if you've contributed to any of our projects, anybody that has had any involvement with DevChatter, thank you very much. It's always fun. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Happy coding. And yeah, thank you all for hanging out. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Later.